Welcome to the news review. Iraq says Baghdad and Tehran will jointly sue the United States for assassinating top Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani and the deputy head of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Units, Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis. In a statement, Iraq's Supreme Judicial Council said the country regards the U.S. assassination on its soil a criminal act. The council said it has coordinated its legal procedure with the Iranian judiciary. The statement comes a day after Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif met with top Iraqi officials, including the judiciary, in Baghdad. A U.S. airstrike killed Soleimani and al-Muhandis near Baghdad International Airport on January the 3rd, prompting international condemnation. Joining us on this edition of the News Review is David Yaghoubian, a professor of history. Political commentator Jason Unruhe joins us as well. Professor Yaghoubian, where do you see this joint legal action heading? Do you expect any punitive measures against the United States or American officials for that matter?
Well, the wheels of justice move rather slowly, and so it was announced in January by both Iraqi judiciary as well as Iranian judiciary that there would be cases brought before the International Criminal Court, and as well as cases pursued in domestic Iraqi as well as Iranian courts. But coming this joint statement of collective action in the International Criminal Court, coming on the heels, just a little over a week after Agnes Callamard, the UN Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial killings, very harsh report that really left the United States no room for euphemisms or other malarkey, essentially calling out the United States for having absolutely no evidence to support the idea that there was some kind of imminent threat. I believe that even though, again, the court process is lengthy, this is going to be a very strong case. It's going to be buttressed by the fact that it is being put forward by two member nations who signed on to the original Rome Protocol in 1998, which brought the International Criminal Court to bear in 2002. On that note, I think it's important, though, and directly to your question, the United States obviously, unfortunately, is intimidated by and fears international law as well as multilateral organizations such as the ICC. And this is why the United States did not become a member of the ICC, not signing the Rome Statute, and has repeatedly, actually, and shockingly threatened members of the ICC. John Bolton has done this repeatedly. He did it in September of 2018 when the ICC was planning on looking into the issue of war crimes against Afghanis in Afghanistan by American forces. Mike Pompeo, both in March of this year and then again in June, has explicitly threatened members of the International Criminal Court with sanctions. He even went so far as to threaten their families. And so to get to the point, whereas it might not be possible to, in the short term, bring American officials and those responsible for this murder, this illegal assassination, to justice in the short term, it is critically important that there is some accountability in the international arena. And so therefore, I believe that this case is of critical importance for the sustenance of international law. And if the words never again mean anything, this is why the ICC was created, to prohibit genocide, war crimes, as well as crimes against humanity. And so this is the perfect case, I believe, for the ICC to pursue.
Jason, what's your thoughts on that? The UN has described the assassinations as unlawful. Will that add extra weight to this legal process on the international arena?
Frankly, I believe that there is absolutely no question in anyone's mind that what the United States has done is a complete violation of international law. And not only just a violation of law, it's a complete violation of any ethical standard by which international actors are to be held accountable. We have the United States, without any denial of having killed Soleimani. So they have completely admitted to the act right from the beginning. Well, the question for the United States would be to prove that Soleimani was some kind of a threat to the United States, which they absolutely are not going to be able to do. There is no rational basis whatsoever for believing that Soleimani was somehow a physical military threat to the United States. However, he did pose an ideological threat. The unity of countries, or at least the attempt to build unity of countries across the Middle East to oppose U.S. imperialism, was a direct challenge to U.S. hegemony inside of the region. What we have is not a case of the United States trying to defend itself. What we do have is an ideological murder. This is for Soleimani being murdered for the U.S. continued effort to dominate the Middle East for its primarily energy resources. If this goes to court, we can pretty much predict what is going to happen. The United States is going to be found guilty. I don't think that there's any question of that. They've been very brazen about this entire situation. The real question is getting the United States to actually own up to its crimes and to suffer the penalty for those crimes, which unfortunately, because the United States wields such tremendous military and particularly economic power, it's a very tall order to have them be brought to heel for anything that they have done, and that would make the end result of the process very difficult to carry out. So in terms of an actual case, this is very open and shut. This is very much going to be a mechanical process, a long drawn out. You have to do everything the way that is you're supposed to be done. There's proper legal channels and everything which will be done.
Jason, I've just got about 1 or 2 minutes left. I've got 2 questions. I want to ask you first. Do you see this as a sign of unity because the fact that these 2 countries are going in this together, they're jointly suing the United States, and in the face of what Tehran and Baghdad both say is pressure from the United States to divide these 2 countries and turn them against each other, essentially?
Oh, very much. This is a plot against any potential unity between Iraq and Iran. Of course, Iraq would rather be willing, consenting allies with another country rather than being held by a military occupation by the United States. And that growing relationship is what's been a threat to the U.S. and its interests in the region.
Great. And Professor Roubian, the Iraq Supreme Judicial Council says it regards the U.S. assassination on its soil as a criminal act. A criminal act, is that being kind there? Because many have described this as state-sponsored terrorism.
Well, I believe in terms of the legal bar, the general assertion that it is a criminal act is preliminarily important. So a crime has been committed, and then that crime is described, and what the punishment for that crime should be. So within the legalese of the Iraqi judiciary, I don't believe that this was necessarily going light, because the case will be put forward to the ICC in all of its ugly detail for the ICC to adjudicate and for the world community to witness and to be aware of. And so again, I think this is critically important, and I'll just end by saying Pinochet looked pretty shocked in his late 80s finally being brought to court. So people should not dismiss this as unimportant if in, say, the next few years Mike Pompeo can't be brought before the ICC. His day will come someday. There's no statute of limitations on these crimes, and just following orders is not an excuse, as we all know, after Nuremberg.
Very interesting points raised there indeed. I want to thank our guests, David Yaghoubian, Professor of History, and Jason Unruhe, political commentator, for joining us on this edition of the News Review. And dear viewers, thank you for staying tuned. Don't go anywhere. We've got more news coming up.